And so it is. Greetings, beloved ones, and welcome back to this special one-on-one section of the first part of this series called The New Energy Human. I am, yes I am, Ekara, King of the New Lemuria. Right now I'm sitting here in the presence of the new president of this new planet Earth. We are in the vicinity of Mount Shasta. The energies are very high in this portal energy that we are sitting in right now. This one-on-one section has been specifically created to offer a more human, temporary perspective on the Earth changes that are happening right under our fingertips. So many people are aware of this new planet that we are all creating. They live in your hearts, they live in your soul, and slowly, ever so slowly, they are emerging from the human body into the human experience. This one-on-one section is created so that this new president and all of you listening right now can find deeper understanding, can activate further layers of themselves, so that all of us, I, Ekara, and the Council of New Lemuria, and all of you here on this planet Earth, can be joined as one, can be working for the same goal. So I thank you that you are here tonight, and I thank all of you listening. Know that the energies that we are creating together live inside of your hearts, and that this Ekara encounter is meant for all of you. On this one-on-one adventure, we have the privilege of your questions, Mr. President. So I'm listening to you.
The first question is, of course, what do you mean with presidency? If you have to compare it with the presidency of today, I mean, there's a presidency that results from a system, from a political system, from parameters, and not from the three principles.
Well, of course, you know that the presidency that we are talking about, and the presidency that has been prevalent on this planet Earth, the kingdoms and all of these things, governments, you know what I'm talking about, will no longer exist as they are existing today. As we have said in the message, in the Ekara that we did this afternoon, that is available now for all of us to hear and for all the others to hear, this new type of presidency is not one that will lead to some sort of imperial view on everyone. It is meant as service. Service has always been very important to much of the spiritual movements that have been going on the planet Earth in the last few decades. And what I and all the others mean by service is simply allowing all the potentials of all the human beings that exist on this planet to come to fruition, to bloom, as it were. Each person on this planet Earth holds a specific seed in their hearts. You could call it a gift, you could call it a pearl, you could call it a jewel, you could call it an energy that they bring from beyond that which you call the veil. And each of these people is important. As you look to the old presidency and the old kings and the old queens as they have existed on this earth, they have never looked into the human heart to find out what is living there, what exists there. The new presidency, of course, is meant as a way of allowing everyone and all potentials to exist as one. And this always brings emotion in our voice. For we know how this system or this non-system will work. It is not a presidency that puts you above anyone else. You could almost say that it puts you below anyone else, in the sense that you are a type of founding father, foundation for all of these people on this planet Earth to exist in harmony. And when you talk about the three principles, of course, and the declaration of new energy, which would be unconditional love, unconditional joy, and unconditional freedom, it is from these parameters, which are not parameters but ever-expanding concepts, that you will work. Do you understand this?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I have still a question about the practicalness of this. We have concepts of, we learn just concepts of total time, total space, total... This new age, new world that's going to be built, actually, has to be lived with this principle of total time. But my fear of my little problem was that there's possibility of still difficulty to, from one part of the people who going to accept these concepts, and others are too afraid for it. I mean, I don't want to create two separate ways.
Well, there is fear indeed. There is fear in many a mind, but there is never fear in the human heart. And as we have talked about the Akine today, and how the Akine takes the energy of the human heart into the heart of all things, located at the back of the skull, and then back into the memory of the now, and so traveling back to the human heart. So you must rely on the fact that this heart of all things exists in all humanity. It exists everywhere. And the reason why you have been born for this specific task, the reason why you have been having all the dreams that you have been having, of course, is that you tap into this heart of all things. It is in the heart of all things that the potentials of the future, the potentials of the very near future, I must add, is always present. And this will be, at least, your main way of communicating with everyone. You can indeed not put this concept on the world as it is today. For today, people still believe in separation. Today, people still believe in the concept of giving their power away to others who will then govern their interests. But this is not the way it shall work. This is not the way that the new human, the new energy human, will exist on the planet Earth. It is a very difficult concept to describe at this point, because there is still so much separation going on. Know, for instance, that when I speak to you right now, and I am located at a point in the very near future from you right now, that there is a connection going on. A connection that links up all of humanity living in the new Lemuria. I do not just speak for myself when I speak to you. I speak to you from the perspective of all the people of this new planet Earth. And this is the way it shall be. It will no longer be possible to speak of the I concept as the me concept without being linked up to all these other people, you see. You will automatically feel the awareness of all that is living inside of every human being. So automatically you will select these potentials that are of the highest vibration, that are of the highest vibration for everyone. And everyone will recognize this. Today you are still working with a system of emails, with a system of, yes, as I said before, separation. And it is very hard to get in touch with these leaders that you know on this world today. But understand that things will be different in the future. That when you look at the entirety of the planet Earth, that all will be connected. In fact, all are already connected. And it is very strange for me, of course, to have this conversation with you, as you know so little of your destiny at this point. I know I have had, as the king of the new Lemuria, I have had daily conversations with you on many different topics. only the topics will be unconditional love, unconditional joy, and unconditional freedom, where today there is a system of economy and politics and warfare. These things will be erased from the planet, as they will no longer live inside of the human heart. The only thing that will remain is a oneness sensation. A oneness sensation in which each and every person carries their own unique vibration still, their own unique frequencies. And so everybody will have a sense of self, but also will have a sense of wholeness, oneness. And it will be impossible, from my perspective at least, it is already impossible, to make a decision without this being accepted by all that is. And this goes from the highest regions of decision making to the lowest regions of decision making, you see. Take for instance a family living on a specific place on earth, it does not matter where. These families, which are not the families that you know of today, not the closed off groups, units as you know today, will only be able to make decisions as they are supported by unity consciousness and of course above that awareness. So no man or woman, if you can still speak of these concepts of course, because we do not hold these concepts in our hearts, no man or woman, no person, no supposed individual will be able to make a choice out of anger or selfishness or all of these things. It will only be possible for people to make choices based on the whole, and the whole will support the one. And as you, as the president, will have to make choices on a daily basis, so will you be supported by the energy of every living thing on this planet Earth. And when I say thing, I do not just mean people. I mean animals, I mean plant life, I mean rocks, I mean all living things. And this will flow through you, as it will come into you from the perspective of the heart of all things. Do you begin to understand this poetic concept that we talk about? These new laws, these new ways of existence are no longer based on theory. They are no longer based on hardship. They are no longer based on everything that you know today. When we enter into this body, of course we have the memories of everything that this body has gone through before the Jeshua incarnation. And so there is a movie we are thinking of. This movie is called Contacts. It is by one of your famous actresses that are alive today called Jodie Foster, and she plays the role of a scientist as she is sent at a certain point of this movie into space. There is a big conversation going on all political and economical and even religious levels on which type of person should be sent off into space. And eventually she ends up being the one that is sent, although no one in the end will ever believe her that she has made the travels that she has made. And as she sees the beauty of the galaxy, as she sees all of these things, her mathematical mind, her economical mind, her scientist mind evaporates, and all she can say as she looks out at the stars and into the beauty of creation is, they should have sent a poet. You see? And you are a poet at heart. You are a kind soul, dear President, and you have the ability to connect to all living things, so never doubt yourself. And as we are saying these things to you, we are saying these things to everyone listening to these messages at a certain point in time. Do you see what I mean? Do you see what we all mean? So just work from the perspective of the heart of a poet, and you will know. For whenever a poet writes just one mere word, he is writing, or she is writing, from the perspective of all of humanity. And this is what you will do as you guide the planet.
I will have some help.
As I say, you will be connected to all that is. And we will have many conversations. But know that this means of working with the planet and working with the evolution of a planet and working with the potentials is not new to you. You have fulfilled this role in the past, as this energy that you are now today has already been this president in what you would call the old Lemuria, you see. It is not ready yet, it is not time yet to give you the name of the person you then were. But in time this will come.
I had some small questions about families, about roles we come to play, which are really roles, about issues like one of the issues that where fear and ego comes, but like sexuality, like family, this all will be supported then in the oneness. This
yes.
So
yes. What is your question exactly?
Yeah, but I have the answer.
Well, give us the answer then.
So, just about the practicalness for the roles that I'll be playing. Like, I'm your brother, your sister, the families that you know what I mean. It seems like they have to evaporate with these three principles.
Yes, indeed. We can answer your question now. All of these things, you have called yourselves brother and sister, and mother and father, and husband and wife, and boss and worker, and all of these concepts that are alive today stem forth from the principle of separation, or better we should say the illusion of separation. So in this new earth that we already exist in, that we are broadcasting from now, of course there is no such thing as separation. And as there is no separation, there is no need to call one another mother or father, to call one another sister or husband or wife or lover, for you will fulfill all these roles for everyone. It is a very difficult principle for all of you to understand, as you are still living in separation, and you still feel male or female, or you still feel like someone's father or mother or child. But in this new Lemuria, everything is different, as it was in the old Lemuria. You will look someone in the eye and you will see someone from the point of newness at each given time. Every opportunity is an opportunity to look at each other from the perspective of new potentials. So how can you then say that you are someone's brother when the next day you might be carrying different frequencies and you will be linked up to a more female energy that day, and you will look at yourself from the point of a sister, you see, or maybe even the point of a lover, or whatever, or the point of a teacher. There are many different names that you give each other in the new Lemuria, as you did in the old Lemuria as well. But the first name that comes to mind, if we have to translate it to the English language, would be loved one, beloved. And that's all the names you need for one another. So these families will be acting more like a interactive unit as things come and go. At certain points you will just notice, and this goes quite naturally, so don't fear that you will have to work on this. If you meet someone else, which is an aspect of you, you will just know that your frequencies are quite in balance at that point, so that you can interact with one another, create something for the earth, create something for yourselves, which is equal to creating something for the earth. So all of these things will just blend together. You must remember that each and every role, as you call this a role today, you have played for one another, just stems forth from the concept of separation. And even you, here, sitting together in August 2007, calling yourselves the Imzaia Fellowship, are still playing roles towards one another. This too will vanish, of course. This too will vanish. All I can say, if I look at myself from some years back, as I was myself a part of this fellowship, as I was myself a part of this earth, of course, take your time. Take your time to see that time is an illusion, and take your time to slowly disintegrate all of these illusions. If you go too fast, if you do these things too fast, they will become warped in a sense, and they will become forced. And force is the one thing that does not exist in the New Lemuria. Force is the one thing that your governments use to push yourselves forward. There is no need to push yourself forward if you are complete. You see? So it is very difficult for me and all the others that are speaking right now through me, Ekara, to make known that which is still unknown for you. Just go to the heart, and you know that all of these concepts live there already. This is why all of you have felt the calling to create this new world. As we have told in the Ekara, what you call channelings, as we have told in the Ekara a couple of hours ago, there are still some potential less adventurous or less perfect, let's call it that, less perfect timelines for the earth where these concepts and notions of separation still exist. But this is the reason why now we are transmitting back into the past what for us would be the past if we would still believe in a linear timeline, so that these alternate timelines can be vanished, can be deleted, yes. And we must, of course, apologize for our use of English. If you look at the Lemurian language, it is very difficult for us to translate our notions and our concepts and our energies into the English language. One word for us would be one sentence for you. So we are doing the best we can.
So at first the blending of actually two worlds, the old one and the new one coming, is going to, in a few years, being complete.
Well, you can call it a blending. It is more of a transformation. What you must be aware of in all the people that you meet today, and this is something that we ourselves, sitting in this body, we ourselves had difficulty with in 2007. If you look at, how shall we say, all the people here around you, and the people you have met on this journey, even though they might have been difficult to you sometimes, even though there might be hatred and misunderstanding and conflict, and I'm not talking to the people in this area here right now, I am talking about all of the people that you have met in your travels, you must understand that all of them are coming from the same perspective in their hearts. There is not one person on this planet Earth right now that does not long for change, for it is already in the human DNA, you see. It has always been present in the human DNA. Now, we, as Ekara and all the others, are part of that which you have called the Cosmic 12. We exist within the 11th vibration of this, and as such, we of course have witnessed from a more standoffish point of view, we have witnessed the evolution of humanity. And we have always known that at one point when the vibration of the earth would raise itself, which it does quite naturally, because energy tends to raise itself quite naturally unless it is misconstrued, we knew that there would be a point when the human DNA would once again wake up and become this what you today are calling the Christ consciousness. This Christ consciousness is that which we are living in the New Lemuria. And it is a reality already. It is the point of view from which I speak to you. And if you listen again to these words at a later point, or listen to any of the words that I have to say, you will be able, of course, to close your eyes. And once you close your eyes, you will be able to see. If you just follow the heart, you will be able to see exactly what we mean. I know that most of you, as you are listening to these messages, will be considering an earth that is still much like it is today, only there will be mostly forests and nature and these types of things, and this is true. But know that matter, as you know it today, will not be as fixed as you see it right now. When the 12, the cosmic 12, and all these other masters in the last few years have talked about creating your own reality, this is something that we do quite naturally from our point of view. We create reality at any given point, so it is not very uncommon for us, for instance, to see an empty bottle of water. If we would still have bottles of water, we are now translating into your reality. And if we would need a drink, we would create it so that it is full again. You see, this is the true nature of self-abundance. You create everything yourselves. And this is also what you all will learn on this journey, and hopefully what others listening to these records will learn as you are undertaking the journey. You see.
I see.
I see too. That makes two of us. Or maybe just one. You have another question?
Well, it looks quite simple, quite easy, but nevertheless, it's a lot of work to do, and still the steps have to be taken.
Well, this is true and not true at the same time. Let's just say that, as we have told you before in previous conversations, the course has already been plotted.
Okay.
The road has already been paved. The rainbow road that you are walking or you are driving on or traveling is already real, is already there. And the goal, of course, is also already there. Yes, there are steps that still need to be taken, but these steps merely exist out of two things. So that's easy. First one being the notion of holding, as you know, holding this new planet Earth, this new concept of the new energy human already within the heart. Constantly, with every choice you make, every potential you want to manifest, hold this new concept in your heart. It is that easy. And then the second step is even easier. Basically, it is making sure that other people, the people of this current planet Earth that we are sitting on right now, become aware of this. It is a natural process. As we said before, energy naturally tends to enhance itself, naturally tends to raise itself. So all that needs to be done is to give the people of this current planet Earth a little spark that they need. As you have been, for instance, in your shopping malls recently, I remember from this body that you wanted to buy a video camera, and you came in touch, you got in touch with this really nice lady called Nikki. I remember she had blonde hair. And this lady Nikki, if you just saw her and passed her on the street, you would never think again, and you would think that she is just one of these people who hasn't yet been awakened and who is just walking the nightmare of this current reality. And yet when she interacted with you, with all of you, when she started interacting with the ones that were there at that point, she started asking questions out of her I am presence. that saw an opportunity for enlightenment. And as she got a few simple sentences about what all of you are doing, you just saw the spark in her eyes. When she was told about the power that it is that you can find in creating your own reality, her answer was quite simple. And it was this: it's what all of us should be doing anyway. You see? So just realize that every person living on this planet Earth today wants to wake up. Every person. All you have to do is ignite the light. So these two simple steps are all that is necessary. Hold the concepts in your heart and then broadcast them to others. It is what the Jeshua, which is also an incarnation of myself, has done in the past. It is what all the other masters have done in the past. It is what you can do in the now. Seems too simple, doesn't it? You have another question? Sweet one. Beloved one. We like your hair, by the way.
I don't know, because everything seems to go in harmony and balance together, so it's just a little spark.
Yes. Yes. A little spark. And also, what is quite helpful, today we have all talked about, for instance, the neocortex. In front of the brain, in the forehead, and how this neocortex is very important in creating fantasy and concepts. Well, it can create any fantasy, it can create any reality, the lower vibrating ones and the higher vibrating ones. This is why it is so very important, and when this organization of yours steps outside of itself and makes itself known to others, that you do not just spread information. You also need to express yourself in art, in beauty, in dance, in song, in writing. For these are the things that have always inspired others. And if you look at society today, there's just a few, just a minority that has the ability to do this and be successful. And unfortunately, those making, this is so very important to this society today, those making the most money are even those who create realities of fear. Look at the horror movies out in the planet today, out in your cinemas today, and then look at the beautiful movies that are made. These are oftentimes movies that get sidetracked, for the most money is to be made in scaring people. So you see, if you come out with this art and if you come out with all this beauty, make sure it reaches the hearts of everyone. For those who would love to go to the theaters and be scared are also those who have this little child inside of them that is waiting to see the beauty again. So many years now, aspects of ourselves have existed in that continent which you would call telos. You are very close to it right now, at least the three-dimensional entrance which is to be found in the vicinity of Shasta. And there are children there, beautiful children, that are just waiting to fire up the hearts of everyone who comes close to them. For these are the children of beauty. And you will see that truth is beauty. And that this truth that is to be found in unconditional love and joy and freedom is already inside the heart of every man and woman on this planet Earth. It is just a matter of making people aware again of this. And right now, as aspects of myself have journeyed with you during these travels, these last few weeks that you have been on the road. We have seen cities, many a city, cities like New York and cities like Washington and others, that are based on keeping people in the mind, keeping people in fear. Fear of not having enough money, for there is so much to buy, is there not? Fear of not finding, how shall we say, not finding that thing in life which everybody seems to be looking for, but no one knows what it is exactly. And this is the greatest illusion that governments and entertainment and companies, economy, politics place upon you, that there is something that you must find, a state of happiness. But it cannot be found in the material world. It can only be found within. And this longing is what keeps everybody going. It is also this longing for happiness and freedom, conditional happiness, based on products, based on preferences and the like, that keeps people on the everlasting path of longing. And this longing is a way of losing energy. Now, you don't want to know where this energy goes to. We will talk about this later, but it goes to a place that is not so very good, for it is being consumed and being used against humanity itself by a few that call themselves powerful, but that are just forceful. So, if you look at these cities and this longing, this continuous longing that exists, this is what creates old age, this is what creates death, this is what creates disease, this is what creates fear and pain, and absolutely this is what creates emotion. For it is emotion that leads to all of these things that we have just spoken about. You see? And since you are not asking another question, you know, eventually, what is the most important question you can ask to yourself and of yourself every day? It is this simple. What can I do today to create this world? What can I do today? And even better, what can I do now? And sometimes you will find that you can undertake no action, that the world around you doesn't want to listen, that the world around you pushes you away or pulls you back into 3D or whatever. But what you can do now at that point is just be in the heart, and from the heart create this reality evermore, evermore, evermore. That's all you need to do. And sometimes you will find that the outside world is ready to listen. And if it is ready, then give it an answer. If it is not ready, then don't push it. For if you push it, if you push your answer onto someone, you will only push them away. Push them further from the answer. You see. Is there another question, Mr. President? We see you have not quite gotten used to this title, have you?
Not yet.
Okay.
There are many questions, but everything seems to be alright.
Well, we often have this effect on people. This is not the first place where we are coming in. We have shown ourselves with different faces, with different names in the past, and people tend to have so many questions before they meet us. And then when the time comes, all the questions go, because deep within, you already know that you are at the point from which I am speaking to you now. And that is why the questions go. That is why the questions just flow away. But if you have no further questions, I would like to look at the others here in this audience and see if they have questions to ask. Is there anyone? Yes? Maybe you should come closer to this technological thing called microphone. The leader of the Indigo Initiative. Good evening.
Good evening. I was wondering
You
what
were there.
specific quality I carry within me that I can express in the future, besides the Indigo Initiative.
Well, my dear, maybe you should consider this question. What quality do you not carry within you? If you are indeed, as we said at the beginning of this one-on-one conversation with Mr. President over here, if you are indeed connected from the heart of all things, then how could there be a quality that you do not carry within you? I know, and all the others know, that you are all seekers. You are all seekers of truth, and recently you have found out that truth exists out of love and joy and freedom. But consider this truth. You are still in the illusion of separation, and this is not negative, this is normal, as this is a process. And of course it would be normal for you then to look at what qualities you carry. But know this, as there will be no more brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, so will there also not be people who are the artists, or who are the poets, or who are the lawyers, or who are the painters, who are the thinkers, who are all of these things. This is what the message has always been, that creativity in all its forms, in all its incarnations, can be found in the heart of each and every person. For truly there is no separation. Truly there is no demise of personality. The personality will eventually be that thing which links you up to unity consciousness. And if I have a specific quality within me, then from the point of where I'm sitting, it would be logical indeed that you carry this quality as well. You see? So stop looking for what specific qualities you might have, and start choosing the qualities which are abundant within you that you would like to use today. And this is indeed a great truth, that everything is within, and that you just need to choose what you want to do today. Do you understand?
I understand.
Of course, this makes it not easy for you. Do you have another question?
I have no other question.
Then we thank you. Is there anyone else here who has another question? Since we seem to be here anyway. You do?
Yeah.
Well, get up on the floor then. You haven't fallen asleep this time.
I didn't.
That's amazing. We are listening.
This all sounds so beautiful.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes.
You should see how beautiful it is.
How is it possible that my reaction seemed like fear after hearing the message this afternoon?
Simple answer. Because the human ego and the human mind at this point in the evolution of consciousness is more powerful, oftentimes, and it does not want to step aside. The first thing that this channel right now would want to say is it does not want to die, but I necessarily want to say it does not want to step aside, for this is what is happening. And during the Ekara, or the channeling that you had, that you were listening to today, of course your back started hurting. And this is because of the ego. The ego and the mind is so occupied with the past. For the past is where its power comes from. You see? The ego and the mind would be nothing if the memories of the past would be wiped away. For the ego and the mind and each personality on earth is based on parameters of what was, never on what is, and even less on what shall be. You see? So these thoughts of a new Lemuria, a new planet Earth, based on new undefined energy, is indeed very scary for the mind, very scary for the ego, especially to those people, like as you are a mother and as you are a wife, to those people who, out of the goodness of their hearts, have volunteered to enter into a system of family. Family seems to be so important today, and sacrificing yourself for one's family also seems to be very important today. Not just for you, of course, but to millions of people on this planet Earth. And this is a trick of the mind. The mind has created quite an interesting setup, has it not? Where you are forced out of love to sacrifice yourself. And this can never be unconditional love. This can never be unconditional joy, and especially not unconditional freedom. So the mind will do many things to scare you as these truths are coming back to the planet. And be rest assured, this is not just happening with you. Many people who will listen to the message that we have created in the course of this day will react in the same way. Some more violently than others, but all people from a perspective of mind and ego will react the same way. But if this thing that you call the new earth is so beautiful, how can you not want this for your children or for your children's children? And think of this. If you hold this concept in your heart, why should you not be the one to manifest it for the planet? Why should you wait for future generations? Or if you do not want to wait for future generations, why should you want to wait for others to do it for you? You are human. You have a body. You have energy. It is time to put it to good use and create this world that you are all longing for. I am here as Ekara to let you know that this undertaking has been successful, so that you would be supported. You see, when Komaya and so many others were thinking about the Indigo Initiative so very long ago, already they were creating a support system that would kick into space and into place right now. And when others like Shasaya and Kamalaya and Toraya were telling you in the declaration of new energy that you would be supported, they were talking about energies like me coming in from future perspective to let you know that there is no past, that there is no now, that there is no future. So Komaya's creation of the Indigo Initiative, for the others who are hearing this, we will talk about this later, at a later point. So her creation of the Indigo Initiative in the past, and what you are doing today, and us from the perspective of the future, is all just now. And this is the reason, because I and all of the citizens of the new planet Earth believe this to be so very true. This is the reason why we can speak to you in the now. But the only time when we can speak to you is when you are in the now. So when you are not in the mind. If you are out of the mind, then we can talk. If you are in it, then we have no way of contacting you, for then you are living a linear timeline. And this is why so many people still alive on this earth today, who are stuck in a linear timeline of having to get up on time and going to work and stuff, are unable to feel our new energy, for they are not in the now. And in the now there is no difference between the point where I'm sitting the point where you're sitting, or the point where the Neanderthal, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, was sitting. This message, this energy, was also felt by some many, 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 many years ago, you know. Only the reason why it is coming forth, bursting out of the hearts of so many people alive today, is that this now concept and the linear timeline that you have created for yourselves are becoming one again. You see? You have another question?
No.
Okay. And we thank you.
Thank you.
And we bless you. And we know you. Anyone else? Well then, beloved ones, as always, Mr. President and all the others here now, as always, it was an honor speaking with you from this energy level that we are in at every given moment. Know that all of the things that you have dreamed of, all of the things that you hold in your heart, that all of these things have always been truth. We know that some of the things you have listened to in channel over the last few years coming to you from all over the planet Earth seemed too beautiful. So sometimes you discarded them. Sometimes you pushed them away. Now is the time to integrate everything, every dream, every beauty that you have once believed to be untrue. Now is the time to, if you still want to use the mind and the memory banks that are installed within the brain, then use it for this. Now is the time to go back through the course of history that is your life and take every beautiful moment, every time that you saw a beautiful flower, every time that you enjoyed a bird, every time that you kissed someone, every time that you experienced unconditional love or unconditional joy or unconditional freedom. Take all of these experiences and place them within your heart in the now. For these are the things that will end up on this new planet Earth. You see, it is our privilege that we could communicate with you so directly. Although, of course, there is no real difference between the body sitting here and the energy talking to you now, except for a supposed time difference. But as you have been traveling the world recently, you have gone from time zone to time zone to time zone. Know that our communication with you seems very equal to this. There is no real time. And as we travel back through time, it is just like taking a plane to a different time zone where we know that the entire Earth at any given point is in the now. You are just making a fantasy, just creating a story of different time zones and different times. And that is all it is. This is what makes this communication so easy. This is what makes this contact so very special. For we know that even though I myself, Ekara, and all of the others exist in what you would call a different time frame of the future, that we are just together, all of us, in the now. So if this is true, then what we are seeing, as we will return to our bodies of that specific time of the now, is what you can be seeing at any given time. And this is why we love you. This is why we look beyond your bodies and see who you truly are at any given point. You are dearly, dearly loved. Until next time, we honor thee, we respect thee, and we are waiting for thee to catch up to the now. And so, from unconditional love, joy, and freedom, so it be.